Cool. So my name's Louise. I'm a senior digital planner at Lab. While my title is senior digital planner, I form like the account management or client management role at Lab, which means that I talk to our clients every day, and I'll explain a bit more about what that means later on. A bit about Lab first. So we study human behaviour. We've got a team of neuroscientists and psychologists internally who form part of the design team, and we look at how human behaviour and technology come together to create great experiences, and that can mean how do we put messaging out there that makes it more compelling to our audience regarding what we're talking about. How do we make an experience more seamless? How do we explain things better? But also when we're looking at products or whatever we're talking about, services, how do we talk about it in the right way for that audience? So it forms both like a structural build functionality purpose, but also from a messaging and design purpose from branding. We do a lot of testing to make sure that we're implementing this correctly. So B, who's coming in to one of the later talks today, she's one of the psychologists, so she'll take you through this in a lot more detail. But effectively we hook people up to like almost a traditional lie detector test. So galvanic skin response, so how much you're sweating, your heart rate, look at how your eyes move across the screen, the intensity of emotion as you're going through websites and digital experiences. And that informs how we then change our creative or functionality for that audience. Making sense so far? Any questions, just shout as we go, by the way. Through that we get things like this, which are heat maps. So this is where we've taken a website, run it through the test with a group of people, and you can see the order of which people look at things on the page. And this helps us structure the content, and also looking at how like imagery and text sits so that we can get the right content across. Just a few websites we've worked on, just for a bit of context. So Marty's, this is for Danone. This is quite recent, so my voice is breaking. That really went there. We've also got a lot of property clients. So this is for Stratford, where the Olympic Games were. TP, they've done a lot of advertising recently, so you might have heard of these guys. So yeah, bit of background on that. So how did I get into the job that I'm doing? It's a bit of a tricky one. It wasn't intended. So I did my A-levels, nothing particularly digital. I then went to art college because I didn't really have a plan of what I wanted to do at university. I knew I liked creating things, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And looking at prospectuses, I was just completely overwhelmed, as I didn't know how my friends knew what they wanted to do for the rest of their lives, or let alone the next 3 years. So I went to an art foundation course. And from that, I discovered that I quite like 3D design, and I went on to university to study architecture, which I got my BA in. I did discover about 2 years into university, though, that I didn't want to be an architect, but I quite liked building things. I liked the theory of it. I liked looking at the chemistry and the physics side of it. But I also graduated then in 2008, when no one was hiring anyone because it was a recession. So what did I do? I went and worked in lots of different places, doing lots of different things. I was temping. I worked for lots of great companies. And I realised that the marketing team was always the team that I wanted to be in. It looked like the most fun. I was always like, oh, what are they doing over there? They always looked like they had the best job in these big companies. So I learned that I'm very creative. I like to see ideas come to life. I like to physically see things grow and be made. I want to understand why things are the way they are. I'm quite a planner, so I like a spreadsheet. I like to know what's going to happen. I didn't like doing the same thing all the time, and I learned that a lot during temping because I did some very boring jobs. And I also like to work in a team and not siloed. I also like talking, which is slightly problematic at the moment. So through a series of happy accidents, I ended up in an agency for property marketing, which I got because I had a degree, and because I'd worked in a lot of client services roles or customer service roles. My first day in an agency, I didn't know what an agency was. I didn't know how I'd got the job. And it was kind of a sink or swim moment. And I absolutely loved it. I'll just go have a sip of my drink. 1 second. Cool. So what's client management? So typically this role is called account management as a function, but it comes under lots of different names. But effectively, this is a definition I found on LinkedIn, which I thought was quite helpful. So we maintain the company's existing relationships with a client or group of clients. The purpose is to create long-term partnerships. The account manager serves to understand the customer's needs and plan how to meet them, generating sales for the company as a result. So it's much more financially beneficial for an agency to keep clients than constantly win new ones. So while we're always out pitching, actually our existing client base are the most important customers to us and will be the same for any company. So that's why you get subscription services. That's why companies want you to be loyal to them. It's because it's much cheaper for them to keep you as a loyal customer. So my role is effectively to look after our clients, make sure we're giving them what they want and need. So, as I said, most important one. So I spend a lot of my time talking to people at meetings, going out, sitting in people's offices, understanding what their business is, how it works, what their goals are as a company. So this year we want to increase sales by 20%, or we want to reduce drop-off rates from our website, or increase sales of this particular product, or we're launching this one thing. So we understand what that is. What's happening in their industry is really important. So being aware of our competitor is doing X, there's a new company coming in that's going to sweep out a lot of our customers' challenges and fears as well. And we take that understanding and we turn it into briefs. So this will be what goes to the creative team or the the development team to improve the website. It will inform the testing we do when we're doing the biometric testing. So we'll give people, we want customers to be doing this better or understand why this is happening. And we test user journeys through websites to make improvements and make it better. And then we monitor that relationship. So if anything's going wrong, if the client's not happy or we're missing something, we're kind of the gauge of whether it's working well or not. So did we achieve the right result? I know that's what you're going to talk about in a minute, is measuring results. And I think the key one I've learned over the time is like clients come to agencies because they need help, and that's because either they haven't got the expertise in-house, they haven't got the time to do it themselves, or we're very specialist in what we do and there's no way that they could retain a team with those experiences, or at least they couldn't afford to retain a full-time team internally. So how am I doing on time? Yeah, we're all right. So it means that I get involved with every project they do with us, understand them. So I've worked at Lab for just over 2 years, and I've worked with the same clients pretty much consistently through that time. So it's not like one project here, one project there. Like I've got clients who call me up for a chat on a Friday afternoon. We go out for lunch and just have a good time. But that's like the measure of success in a relationship. But we're also the ones that get told off if something goes wrong. So you get both sides of the coin there. The better we know them, the better work we do. It's kind of one of those things of like, you know your friends really well, so you buy them great gifts. If you're trying to buy a gift for someone you don't know, you have no idea what to do. It's that kind of relationship. How am I doing? So these are a selection of brands that I've worked with over the years. Some of them, like Tempur, I worked with for like 5 or 6 years at my old agency. Some of these are new ones for Lab. But it just gives you a variety. Like I don't work for big agencies. Lab's the biggest agency I've ever worked for. But it doesn't mean we don't get to work with some great people doing some amazing things. I've got to travel around Europe doing photo shoots. It's like really, I love this job. It's a complete variety of everything. So creativity, being sociable, variety and challenges. Every day is different. I found this really hard to write because it's not like you do X, Y, and Z. it's sort of, you've got to be able to flex and shift with whatever's happening at any one time.
Has anyone got any questions? No?
No.
Okay, I've got a question.
Go on then.
So, obviously, you just said it's for X, Y, and Z. But
Yeah.
typically, day to day, what are the kind of challenges, what are the daily routines that you have to do when you come into work?
So there's obviously checking emails. I check in with the project teams. So obviously I look after the client, but any client could have 3 or 4 different projects running at any one time. And we work with project managers who look at the day-to-day management of those projects, and they deal with the development team or the creative team. So they're in the kind of detail of the delivery. So I'll check in with my project managers, make sure everything's running okay, see if they're blocked by anything, and if there's anything I can do to help move the project on. I might have a conversation with the client or look at, sorry, it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Speak to clients. I do a lot of like revenue forecasting and planning, looking at projects that are coming up, making sure we've got the right team, the right meetings in place. I go out and meet clients almost 3 or 4 times a week. I'm out of the office for half a day with clients, different ones all the time. Going to conferences, learning about their industries. Challenges would be if there's delays on a project, breaking the news to clients. If we've encountered a problem and we need more money, that's generally where I come in to go and ask for more money. But yeah, we also get to celebrate as well, take clients to award ceremonies. So,
Any questions?
oh.
Do you work in a group with other people on one client, or is it just you?
So typically there's me. One of the directors of my company will also know the client, so we're kind of like the leads. We then have a project manager for every project, so there might be 2 project managers, but effectively me and a project manager, a director, and then whoever is the tech lead. So depending on whether they're building something, I'm going to get too technical if I'm not careful here. Depending on what platform they're building in, whether it's like Drupal or Sitecore, there'll be a tech lead as well. So yeah, usually 3 or 4 people in the kind of day-to-day knowledge.
Any other questions? What's your favourite thing to do in your role, that you can?
Oh, I'm really enjoying organising Christmas parties at the moment. I would say my favourite thing is when we get a brief and we have a meeting. I had one yesterday actually. We got a brief from a client and we sat in a room with a whiteboard and we literally worked out, she's written written a short brief of this is the kind of thing I want to do. We've literally got in there and problem solved and gone, right, this is what you've got, this is what you want to do, like how do we make those 2 situations meet? So now we can just literally roll with it and get the project delivered. That's what I really like actually, yeah. Probably one of my favourite bits.
Any more questions? No?
I've got a question. Do you so the other people around you, you're in the team, is there a typical path they've taken to join a company like that?
I would say no. I don't think anyone I've ever worked with in account management has known what account management was when they were at school or university, or even when they started their job. I actually was talking to Tio, who's our marketing manager at Lab. She does all of the events and marketing for us. And I said, my first day in an agency, I didn't know what an agency was, and she burst out laughing. She's like, me too. So I think it's quite common that people don't really know what agencies actually do.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that as well.
But no, variety of backgrounds. People have come from, some people have done marketing degrees, some people have worked at client side, some people, like I came from an architecture background, like one of our project managers didn't even go to university, like just came and worked in our support team and have worked their way up through the company. Developers who are not who are not doing degrees in IT, like it's really varied. And I think to work in an agency, you've just got to be flexible and want to learn all the time. And I don't think there's one particular path. And I think now it's much easier. When I was at school, IT was learning how to use Excel and it was dial-up broadband. like digital agencies didn't really factor into like career prospects at all.
I think the difficulty with finding an agency is that no one, even when you work in an agency,
They're all different as well.
yeah, and it's very difficult to define exactly what an agency does.
I think that's the magic though, isn't it? It's a bit
Mm.
of a melting pot. Like you can be, I've just taken on someone who studied for 3 years games design. So
Yeah.
you would think one of the top sort of jobs people want, you know, after doing it for 3 years, he was like, I loved what I was doing, but I just don't want to do that anymore. So
Yeah.
he's a junior, like designing how the apps will work, etc. So it is transferable, and actually that's what makes the
Yeah.
room you work in interesting, because there's people, I've worked in lots of different agencies, there's never one route that people come in, which I think opens your mind to say, like
Yeah.
you, I didn't know what it was, and it opens your mind to say, oh, okay, actually this is possible whether I've studied English,
Yeah.
history, or whatever that is.
Like I would say, like it made it easy for me to get my first job because the first agency I worked for was property marketing. So having got a degree in architecture, that gave me my path into that agency. And I'd say, like even now, like I get pulled in if we have any property clients because I understand the industry better than most people in my company because that's where I come from. But my background, even in agency, is in print, not digital. So like websites is a relatively new thing for me. Like I was very much in the kind of branding, brochures, websites on the side. Now it's very much the other way where all I do is websites with the occasional leaflet thrown in randomly if it's needed. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, you said obviously like loads of different paths to get to obviously client management. What would you say is the best one?
Oh, I don't know. I think so when you go into an agency, there's lots of levels of account management. So what you want to be looking for is like an account exec or a junior account exec. We have people come in on like internships, go ask work experience. Like every agency is wanting hands on deck. Like you'd be more than welcome. You'll be making tea and photocopies and organising files and proofreading artwork, but you need to do that to understand like how everything fits together.
That's exactly what I did when I'm in the accounts team at Bupa Digital. So I was literally
Yeah.
finished A-levels in June and went straight in. So there's loads of different routes, but
Yeah.
just putting yourself out there.
I think it's what you do with it. So whether you manage to get some work experience along the way, so you actually know what it is, because it's still not for everyone. It's quite a fast-paced, pressured environment. But also, don't give up any like hobbies you have that are around teams, because working as teams are really important. So if you're able to maintain that,
Yeah.
where you don't have a big CV, that also gives you something to talk about in an interview. And people, like Becky said, and Mark said earlier, people know you're not going to have an extensive CV, but at least you can show you're able to work in that way.
And I think for me, because I'd worked quite a lot in customer services, and I'd got quite a lot of temping experience working, even as like a receptionist, just having that customer contact in any other business gives you the basis of like comms, like how you talk to customers, I think is the critical part, and then everything else you can learn.